And we're back. Okay, to quickly describe what happened last time out of Europe, I had the we had the race in the bag. Then it started to rain, and it looked like I managed to nail the strategy by going into intermediate tires, earlier than everybody else did. But then I got peer pressured into switching back to dry tires. I eventually obliged, and that went on to be a mistake because by that point it had become too wet for dry tires. And then in the final few laps, it got wet enough that the full wet tires were needed. But it was like 3 laps to the end, that is like with intermediates. It didn't change the result, but yeah, I could have won it, but I guess I choked it, slash my pit crew choked, not pit crew, race engineer choked it. But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. And now we have a chance to redeem ourselves in what was the very first visit of Formula 1 to the Southeast Asia with the Malaysian Grand Prix. Of course, MotoGP had been racing there for way longer than Formula 1 did, since 1991, at the track called Shah Alam, which, for the record, has been since demolished. But this was the very first race at Sepang for Formula 1. And I know a lot of people will love for this track to return, but at this point, a serious miracle is needed for this track to ever come back. Especially if now Formula 1 is intending to have that race in Thailand, or any other race in Southeast Asia. Remember that Vietnam was supposed to be the replacement for Malaysia. But then, of course, the pandemic happened and the other organizational shenanigans happened, so that never happened. But yeah, it is very hard for this track to ever come back into the Formula 1 schedule. So let's appreciate it when it was there. And now we get to appreciate it for the very first time in this series. So let's not waste any more time and see you after qualifying, folks. And we're starting in pole position for the very first Malaysian Grand Prix. And if I remember correctly, we were sponsored by like the Malaysian. Tour was sponsored by the Malaysian tourist, the Ministry of some. It was sponsored by Malaysia, by the Malaysian government. But actually, I think it was that. Well, I think it was in 1997. So yeah, never mind. Anyway, just a strategy. So let's get on track. And yeah, they were sponsored by the Stewart was sponsored by the Malaysian government in 1997. Yeah. In any case, it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3, 4, 5, and we're off as a bang. Okay, good start. Into turn 1. There you go. Already pulled a big gap on Schumacher and Coulthard. Okay. Of course, Michael Schumacher and Irvine locked in the battle for second place. Right now, Schumacher leads that battle after Irvine DNF'd, I believe, at the Nürburgring. But yeah. Okay. Into the main straight, and that was lap number 1. We lead the way. And of course, Malaysia had a Grand Prix, despite the fact that there were no Malaysian driver into the grid. And Formula 1, then they would have to wait until 2001 when they got Alex Young. And I believe he's the only Malaysian driver to ever raced in Formula 1. Even in testing and stuff, he's like the only Malaysian driver to ever race in Formula 1, and yeah, surprising they managed to get. Okay, that's not surprising because you know Formula 1 at the time was much more different. But yeah, I mean, Sochi got a Grand Prix in 2014, and by that point Petrov was long gone for Formula 1. And I don't even know where Artem Markelov and Sergei Sorokin, the other Russian that got into Formula 1 were. And Mazepin was like, who fucking knows what Mazepin was doing at the time in 2014? Probably collecting Pokemon cards or whatever it's the whatever its equivalent is in Russia. But yeah, and actually check the Formula 2 and Formula 3 lists, and yeah, there's no Malaysian driver there, so I guess, I mean, it makes sense, because Malaysia, as a majority of Southeast Asia, it's more of a motorcycle region than a car region. There's a reason why, as I stated, MotoGP had been racing at Kuala Lumpur, actually Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for way longer than Formula 1 had, and and why MotoGP has several races in Southeast Asia. They got Thailand, they got Indonesia, of course they got Malaysia, and because those countries are more motorcycle focused than car focused. Which, yeah, I guess not that surprising that Southeast Asia representation has been pretty little overall. Okay, there's Alex Albon, but guess what? He's got dual citizenship, so it doesn't really count because the guy was born in Britain. Of course, he races with with Thai, he races as a Thai driver, but he was born in the UK. But for pure overall Southeast Asian drivers that do not have a double license, a double passport, no, that's after Alex Young they got nobody. I mean, first Fauci came to be the closest one in GP2, and I believe it was like test drive for some team. I believe it actually was. Oh god, I think it was for Lotus/KFRM. Oh yeah, they actually got a team. Malaysia got a team in Lotus/KFRM, but then they became British. So yeah, that I mean they started off as a Malaysian team, and but they became British once Tony Fernandez bought out KFRM. At least for like the first year. I'm pretty sure for the second, at least for the first year of KFRM, they were still Malaysian. They became British, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that definitely didn't help getting any Southeast Asian drivers into the grid. Except again for Farouz Fauzi, but yeah. Alex Young remains the only driver from Malaysia, excluding Albon, or is the only actual Southeast Asian driver, excluding Albon, to have raced in Formula 1. Actually, speaking of, okay, we've had three Russian drivers in Pasharov, Sirotkin, and Mazepin. We had an Israeli driver in Shanok Nassani. Roy is his son. Although he was only one for a test section in 2004, I believe. We haven't had any Irish drivers since Ralph Furman in 2003. Thomas Anye, the only Czech driver to ever race in Formula 1. And of course, one driver that got himself busted for one of the very few drivers that got busted for doping. Then what? Other weird countries, of course, Venezuela for Maldonado. And I believe those are the extent. Alex Young in Malaysia, as stated. Then what? Of these weird, non-traditional countries. I think I mentioned them all, I want to say. I guess Montoya for Colombia. We haven't had another Colombian driver since Montoya. Hell, the closest thing we can get to another Colombian driver is Montoya's actual son. Then what? I think that's all of them. We haven't had any Norwegian drivers. No. Hungary's Zolban Gardner. Right. 2004. I forgot about him. Yeah. He raced in 2004 for Minardi, and is known in the GP Rejects community as he whose name shall not be mentioned. I think it was he whose name shall never be mentioned, but yeah, that's basically him. The whole Hungarian tried to race in Formula 1. Then what? Of course, there was Prince Bira, who was also Thai before, and was the only Thai driver to ever race in Formula 1 before Alex Albon got here. And of course, I don't want to say Mexico, because we've had plenty of Mexican drivers. The Rodriguez brothers, Perez, of course, Gutierrez. Oh god, who else?
The gap between you and the car behind is currently 7 seconds.
Hector Rabake. We've had plenty of Mexican drivers in the past, and of course, now in the future with Perez, and of course also in the lower category was Rafael Villagomez, is Mexican. Ooh, right, Zimmeloni. He's from Barbados. I forgot about him. I mean, yeah, might as well mention. Oh shit! I might as well mention the drivers in the lower categories. We got Frederick West. No, not Danish. I mean, technically, yeah, Danish because after Kevin Magnussen, we haven't had another Danish driver outside of the Magnusens. Dennis Hauger, he's Norwegian. I forgot about him. Then who is it? Paul Aron, who's Estonian. Is it Maloney, who as I stated, is from Barbados. Roman Stanek, he's also from the Czech Republic. Then, what else? Oh god, what's his fucking name? And also India, technically, is a bit of a weird country. Because while it has one of the biggest companies in the world in Tata Motors, and of course Mahindra, only 2 Indian drivers ever made it into Formula 1, those being, of course, Karthikeyan and Chandhok. Technically Austria as well, because we haven't had another Austrian driver in Formula 1 since Christian Klein. Although, technically not really, because Lauda is a three-time champion. We got Alex Worts, because it's the Christian Klein. Jochen Rindt. So there were there weren't that many Austrian drivers, but the ones that we had, half of them were pretty good. Then oh god, the driver from fucking Paraguay. What was his name? Thomas Struxel, something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, he's from Paraguay. Yeah, doesn't look like it from the name, but he's from Paraguay. Like Schwartzman is Russian, but he races with an Israeli flag because of obvious reasons. Then what? Chian Heinz? No, I think he's still British. Actually, I think he's not Irish. I've got some other countries that I'm thinking.
Keep the tires warm. Keep warming the tires.
What a fucking Belgium, I guess. I mean, we haven't had a Belgian driver in Formula 1 since Jerome D'Ambrosio, when he had to super sub for Croatia in 2012 when he got banned because he crashed too many times.
The gap to the car behind is 10 seconds.
Then what? Oh god, there's a fuck. When I'm supposed to? Okay, I'm supposed to be next lap. Actually, I think Thomas Struxel, I think the driver from Paraguay was the name. I don't fucking remember. There was a driver from the Philippines in GP3 like a decade ago, a decade ago. He won at Monaco, I believe, and that was like his only win overall. Portuguese driver. We haven't had that many Portuguese driver. Well, actually, we haven't had a Portuguese driver since fucking Thiago Monteiro. Unless it's been mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's exactly that's the case. Sweden also, we haven't had that many. No, we actually do have plenty of drivers from Sweden. Marcus Ericsson, of course, Joe Bonnier, Gunnar Nilsson, Ronnie Peterson. Now we have had plenty of a Swedish driver in the field, so never mind. Then what? Some other weird-ass countries. I believe that's all of the ones that come into my mind. I could be forgetting some of them, but I'm pretty sure that's the gist of it. But yeah, from me revealing the existence of one Alex Young to just rambling about people who haven't had countries that haven't had a Formula 1 driver, or a Formula 1 driver in, or a driver in the Formula One table in a very long time, or if they did, it's in the lower categories.
The tires have picked up
In the meantime,
some wobbles. Keep to
into the pits we go. Actually, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand is actually another country that hasn't had that many drivers. Well, he had what? Denny Holmo became champion, then Brendan Hart, and of course Bruce McLaren. Of course, yeah, sure. I mean, he's super important. But yeah, we haven't had a New Zealand driver since Brendan Hartley in
Car's got a new set of prime tires on. You only have to stop
2018, I believe. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Russian drivers, I completely forgot about Del Fiat. Jesus.
You're on the slower tire, but you're maintaining
Fucking, I completely forgot about Fiat.
Very happy.
Sure.
This is good.
But he was pretty decent, come on. I mean, he became the first victim of Verstappen mania, but still. Of course, no Chinese drivers whatsoever. The closest thing there was Ma Qinghua. But now, in the seasons that he had the Formula E, I believe he raced with a Dutch flag, if I remember correctly. In the season of Formula E, that he raced at. But yeah, he was the test driver for a number of teams. One of them, I think, was HRT. But yeah, he never raced in Formula One. Now, of course, Monaco hasn't had that many drivers. Okay, now we got Leclerc, sure, and his brother too. But before him, it was Oliver Beretta in the 90s, and after that it was Louis Chiron back in the early days of Formula 1. So, not that big of a presence. Of course, Chiron is, I believe, is like the oldest Formula 1 winner ever, at like 50 something, at like 53 years old,
Great job.
if I'm not been mistaken. But yeah, and I believe those are all the countries that
Your rear tires look a little cold. Try to warm them up.
and yeah, I believe those are all the countries that I can think of that haven't had that many drivers in Formula 1 or in the development series that I can think of. Now I'm probably gonna come up with like another 50,000 ones while I'm talking about something else, but yeah, those are the ones that I can think of. But yeah, as I'm recording this, I've posted the video for the sign-ups for season 2 of Formula AS. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that we got that I decided to push myself and do a season 2. But yeah, here we are. And I know nobody's asking this question, but just to see some doubts, I have a really flexible university schedule, so that explains why I've been able to pop up these videos every day.
A 12-second gap to the car behind. 12 seconds.
I have like 3 days of when I have to go to university and 3 days completely free, plus of course not excluding Sundays, of course. But yeah, I have a pretty flexible university schedule. Even when and even when I'm working, I still had plenty of time to make at least one video. So yeah, if anybody's explaining, if it's explaining, yeah, I just happen to have a really lucky university schedule. Okay. And of course, as I said plenty of times, there won't be any video from basically mid-April until early May, because and guess what? I'm going to Korea, so yeah. Also, in all fairness, I don't I'm usually at home, so that also is a factor why I'm able to pump this many videos a day. So yeah, that actually the fact that we stay home a lot is the reason why we managed to effectively survive, quote unquote, or at least handle the total lockdowns when the pandemic hit much better than a lot of people would. A lot of people did, actually. Because in the news, I keep reading about people that are still, you know, that the pandemic completely mentally destroyed them, that staying at home absolutely mentally fucked them, and well, in my case, I was perfectly fine because, you know, it's not just me. Even my sister doesn't get out all that often. At least, not entirely on her own. Now, in the sense of, she doesn't leave home that much, unless it is something that she actually, unless something important, of course. Like, I mean, she doesn't leave home unless she has a reason to. Like, for example, she's gotta go somewhere. And I'm basically the same. So, yeah, in the meantime, I'm supposed to pit on lap 19. Okay. So, Formula 1 is gonna be in a week. And, honestly, I don't know how to feel about the season. Because everybody's been saying that, I mean, everybody, mainly Verstappen has been saying that the cars suck ass, and it could potentially be like a very boring season. But at the same time, apparently Mercedes are back, Red Bull could be a good car, Ferrari might also be good. So there's a lot to look forward to outside of seeing if Verstappen's words are true and the cars are really that bad that even a Formula 3 car can actually outpace them.
coals. Try to warm them up.
But yeah, okay, the tires, I mean, come on. There we go. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Somebody destroyed their front wing. And that was a minority. And ooh, actually completely forgot about it, but I would blame me about this bullshit, but not the thing that I teased in the last video. That being last season, last race was the European Grand Prix, where literally everything and then something more happened. But this one was the race that also had its bit of drama in the case of the Ferrari barge boards. Now, to make this a very long story short, what happened is that both Ferraris were disqualified, who finished 1-2. By the way, I also forgot that this was the first race for Michael Schumacher since the crash at Silverstone that broke his leg. And they finished 1-2 with Irvine first and Schumacher second, because Schumacher decided to let Irvine through for the sake of the championship. But yeah, it was a Ferrari 1-2, but then they were both disqualified because if I'm correct, the barge boards were 2 on. Okay, some. Oh, yep. I think he's out of the race. Now, yeah, there he is. That's an article. And actually, I want to check. I'm going to talk about the barge boards a little bit in a second. Just let me check who did DNF, and that is Genet. No, it's Takagi. No, wait. Hold on a minute. Okay, so Takagi DNF'd, and I guess that minority that just got despawned is Genet. So, okay. Oh, Coulthard also DNF'd. I just noticed that. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. Basically, they found irregularities with the barge boards. I believe that they found them too short, or they found, actually not too short. I think they found them too low to the track. They were found at a lower height than allowed, and they were disqualified on technical grounds. But turns out that the FIA had completely ignored a rule that said that barge boards were supposed to be at a minimum height, but they had a bit of a gap to compensate for the barge boards getting deformed due to the bumps of the track. And Ferrari was perfectly within those limitations, this gap, and the FIA rescinded the penalty, the disqualification. And turns out that had Ferrari been kept disqualified, Hakkinen won the Hakkinen and McLaren would have clinched the championships, the Drivers' and Constructor Championships, one race early, which of course led itself into conspiracy theory, which I actually wasn't aware was there was a thing until I watched a video of JW Talks Motorsports, Joseph Willows, that said that the reason why they decided to allow Ferrari the reason why the FIA reinstated Ferrari's 1-2 at Sepang was because they didn't want the season to finish on a whimper. They wanted what had been a pretty dramatic season to finish on a bang, and by disqualifying by disqualifying the Ferraris, it meant that Häkkinen and McLaren had got the championship a race early, and of course that wasn't going to happen, so they were reinstated. So Ferrari was reinstated. Kinda like my personal theory on what happened at Abu Dhabi 2021 with Michael Masi allowing only the lap cars between Hamilton and Verstappen through, and everybody else stayed behind. My theory as to why Masi did this is because I cannot. First and foremost, I honestly believe it was a genuine mistake, but also I believe that in his mind he couldn't have finished if he kept things the way they were before Latifi crashed. That means that Verstappen would have to deal with a bunch of lapped cars, and what could have been what was a very, very dramatic championship scenario with both championship contenders entering the final race tied on points would have ended on a major whimper, because while Verstappen would have to deal with lapped cars, Hamilton could have just flown away and won the championship. And basically ending what had been a real dramatic season into a mastodontical blob of meh, which is why I believe that Masi only allowed the cars between Verstappen and Hamilton through instead of keeping things as they were, or letting everybody through. And in the meantime, we go past LSE or Lacey. Oh shit, well, there we go. Now we have 50 seconds, we should be fine. I fell victim of that trap too. Okay. Also, a couple hours before recording, I saw that the FIA posted a video going through the details on what makes a track Grade 1. Grade 1 is the grade used by the FIA to determine which tracks can host Formula 1 or which ones cannot. And honestly, I thought of an alternate title that said, this is why tracks like Watkins Glen or Brands Hatch are never coming back. Because, come on.
You have no more scheduled pit stops, so look after your tyres.
In the meantime, we're second behind Irvine. But yeah, I just thought of that, and that made me laugh for like a minute. Not a minute. It made me laugh a little bit. But yeah, the weirdest thing amused me,
Keep the tyres warm.
and I'm never going to question why that's the case. It's just, I guess I'm just built like this.
We need to keep pushing if we want to close the gap on the car ahead. It's currently 12 seconds.
Don't worry. And there's somebody else out. And wait, is he out of bounds? Okay, that's weird. But, you know, actually, one of the bad things about this game is the fact that you cannot switch to other cars' POWs. You're stuck, POVs. You're stuck with yours. Which of course a major pain in the dick, because, you know, you would want to see how other drivers retired. But yeah, whatever. And I think there wasn't a figure till F1 2016, if I'm not mistaken. 2015 didn't have it, but like 2015 is like a super flawed beast. But yeah. But yeah, in any case, we are back into the lead. 7 laps to go? No, 8 laps to go. There we go. And should be fast lap of the race. There we go. So next week we will end this series as well as now season 1 of Formula AS. And then we'll continue on with the Path for Radiance playthrough, as well as the North American Tour, and finally the Fantasy Super Mod.
Seconds between you and the car behind.
Okay.
Your rear tires look a little cold. Try to warm them up.
And as I stated, I'll wait a little bit before starting 2000. But yeah. Through Bador. And now we are the part of the video where I completely run out of topics to talk about. And oh, of course, since I mentioned it at the early part of the video, MotoGP is back. There was the sprint race in Thailand, and tomorrow should be tomorrow is going to be the race. And I personally haven't watched it because. In all fairness, actually, I haven't watched the MotoGP race in, what, 2 years? But, yeah. I mean, I only saw bits and pieces last season. I watched, like, the final laps of the Japanese Grand Prix, the one where Marquez clinched the title. And, of course, I did see the celebrations for that. But yeah, not even a highlight video of MotoGP I watched in the last 2 years.
Okay, you have a 12-second gap to the car behind.
Okay, nice. About to become 5 laps to go. Five to go. But oh, by the way, as for the International Tournament of Champions update, Yeah, I still haven't asked about the extra 2 cars that I want to use. But yeah, I'm probably going to ask as soon as I'm done with the video. Oh right, that was the truck race in St. Petersburg. Yeah, St. Petersburg, the IndyCar racetrack. And oh god, who fucking won? I don't remember. I need to check that. I need to check who won after the video is done, and of course I'm going to talk about it at length at the in the Japan race, in the Japan video. Yeah, now 4 to go.
Dropping back around a half a second a lap.
Okay. Aye. Oh, and yeah, forgot to mention about. I didn't watch the Pokemon Presents for Gen 10, but I do know about it, and just the fact that they're going to release the game in 2027, they're going to give time to the developers. To me, it screams volumes of the effect that the Super League that I've had a few months ago had potentially had. If you know what I'm talking about, a couple of months ago, the Pokemon Company suffered a humongous leak that got out plans for at least the next decade or so, and one of them was was Gen 10, which I'm going to assume the Pokemon Presents video did indeed confirm as to be true, as true. And also, since it's February 28th, it's safe to assume that the direct partner, the partner showcase was the direct of winter, which now effectively means that we have to wait either May or wait straight for June for the proper direct. Also because we still have no news about Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, which of course is gonna be one of their biggest titles, even bigger considering all the stuff about it, all the hype around it following the outrage of Engage, to which I am sort of inclined of making a video about it and why I'm not looking forward to Fortune's Weave, but I don't know. I need to carefully decide on that one because it could potentially cause me a lot of trouble. I can't video like that. But in any case, 2 laps to go.
Looks like this is going to be your finishing position, so let's make sure to keep it clean and bring the car home safely.
But okay, nice. Also, about the Pokemon thing, it honestly feels like that the only guy that knows what the hell basic defense system, what a basic firewall is fucking Sakurai and this company. Because it's actually not just Nintendo, like a lot of companies have had their stuff leaked thanks to have had their stuff leaked pretty easily. Not just, you know, minor stuff like future games and shit, future games concept arts, and in the case of Pokemon. In the case of Pokemon, like 10 years, a full decade of plans. The only ones that seem to never have a problem like this is Sakurai's company. And when something like this did happen, they actually did. They included measures to make sure that stuff wouldn't get out. For example, in Smash 4. When Roy and Ryu were announced for Smash 4, they were found out through data mining, and Sakurai got so mad, and as a response, Sakurai decided to put the characters into code names that only he and I would assume his inner circle know about it. Inner circle, and of course, everybody working at the everybody on the Smash development team knew who they were, in order to make things harder for data miners, and it did work for all things considered. Now, for fantasy purposes, the only thing we're able to find out about leaked character is either through actual leakers' hints, or by complete accident by Nintendo. Like, for example, the one time they leaked Summoner Richter through a box art. But in any case, one corner to go, rather one big hairpin left to run into the main straight, and we're going to win the Malaysian Grand Prix.
Awesome, truly awesome. What a win.
And so, we win the Malaysian Grand Prix. Second is Irvine, third is Michael Schumacher, and then it's Hakkinen, Hill, Lucas, Barrichello, Frentzen, Trulli, and Fisichella rounding out the top 10. Then, of course, we got 4 DNFs, Alesi, Takagi, Kofar, and Deniz. Villeneuve, Zonta, Badr, Genet are all a lap down. And De La Rosa wins last car for the lead lap cars, and Genet wins last car overall. And now, time to do the points calculation, the thumbnail, all that jazz, so see you in a bit, folks. As for the championship standings, Schumacher is now 12 points ahead of Irvine, so we will have a battle for second in Japan. Coulthard is in fourth, even though he didn't score any points. I would assume at this point Hakkinen would have to win to surpass him in the standings. Hill is in sixth, Frentzen is in seventh, then it's Lucas, Zanardi, and Barrichello rounding up the top 10. Then it's Fisichella, Wurz, Alesi, Dennis, Trulli, Takagi, and Panis rounding up the point scorers. And on Monday it'll be the final race of the 1999 season. So yeah, I got nothing else to say. This has been it for this video. If you liked it, give it a like. And if you see more content like this, hit subscribe, click the notification bell so you get the next video drops. And I have nothing else to say other than see you next video, everybody. This is Alpha, signing out.